everything that someone in a relationship is going to say is going to be triggering to the world. Because the world is a bunch of hoes. Yes!
So you about to be a little devil's advocate.
Hey, and this is recorded. You can use that.
This is going to be, this is a YouTube exclusive right here. That is a YouTube exclusive. Yo, what's going on, family? My name is Elijah, and welcome to the conversation with Josh and Elijah. Relationship Perspectives, Part 2. But this week, as you can see, it's looking a little different. You know, last time we got some female perspectives, but this episode, we're gonna hear from the men, and we're gonna hear what they got to say. Josh, how you doing?
Feeling good. This is gonna be exciting. Just like we said a couple episodes back, you're welcome.
Stop tapping the table.
Am I always doing something wrong? I can't win.
You do stuff right when you do stuff right.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited. I'm a little annoyed with you now. I was feeling good until
Josh
you
has
said
been annoying
something.
me all morning. He broke a stand. He unscrewed something too far. It's just been too much today, but it's fine. The Lord our God be praised.
Amen.
Not
Amen.
from what you do. But anyways, I'm kidding, Josh. You know I love you, bro.
We'll talk after this.
All right. I may need to find a new co-host. We don't know. But today I am here with two of my great friends, two of my best friends. This one over here is my cousin. And I'm so excited to be with them today. So first things first, I'm gonna let y'all introduce yourselves. Zeke, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm great. How about you? How you feeling today?
I'm good.
Appreciate you for having me on.
Of course.
My name is Ezekiel Hannon, Zeke Hannon. I'm a current Otterbein student. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm an aspiring videographer. My at Instagram is just my name, at Ezekiel Hannon. Feel free to slide in the DMs for any of your videography needs.
I didn't know what he was going to say to slide in the DMs for. I thought he was going to
We'll get to that part later.
Go ahead and slide in the DMs and let me know how you really feel.
It's like you started out real bold.
Yeah, he started out real bold. That was different.
Now keep that same energy. All
Exactly,
episodes.
all episodes. Next, we got Zaytoven.
You're goofy, man. I'm Isaiah Miller. Some people call me Zay. I go to OSU starting in the fall. I'm here from Columbus, Ohio. Let me see. I'm going to school for finance. And I don't really get on social media, so
Why
I'm
not?
just chilling.
You don't like it?
Honestly, like, I have accounts, but like, I only really get on it to connect to people personally. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I don't have their personal phone number, like, I'll reach out through like maybe like through DMs, through whatever, like Messenger on Facebook.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, like, I mean, if you know me, then you know about my life, and
That's
like,
a
and
good
if you
point.
don't know me, then we're not like that close.
So there's a barrier that you have.
I mean,
I wouldn't say like barrier.
not
but like
purposeful, not purposeful. Like, it
Okay.
was just put in place because I'm just not as like active on social media. as
Gotcha.
others.
Yeah, I feel
you know what I mean? But like, I have a Snap and like an Instagram, but like, I'm not gonna promote it because
You're not gonna be on it that
I'm not
much.
gonna be on it.
You're not going to respond.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
like I'm like, you may get an occasional like maybe once a month when I'm like, let's see what people are doing on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I respect that.
So, are you single?
Yes, I'm single. Have been single for the past 4 years of my life. So
Okay.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't no wrong with that. Praise the Lord. Our Lord God be praised. I am single, like a Pringle, and do not want to be put in the can with others. Come on, somebody. All right, Zeke.
whoa.
Ooh, Zeke and Zay.
You're gonna be doing
Zay,
that all
it's
show.
close
a lot of
It's alright. It's okay. It'll happen.
Zaytoven, what's going on with you?
I am taken. I've been in a relationship for about 5.5 years.
5.5.
That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Congratulations.
It's been a minute. Appreciate
Pause.
you. It's
I'm
been a
acting
minute.
like I don't know this already, so that you all at home feel connected. But I kind of know all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Josh,
Just
are you single or dating or what's going on with you? Are you in a situationship or?
No, I am not. I'm not single. My girlfriend was on the show last week.
Really?
Yes.
Which
She
one?
was.
Which girlfriend or which person that was here last week?
Oh, which girlfriend?
Jeez.
Okay, I'm not gonna get you in trouble because Courtney actually might. find
Yes,
me.
Courtney. In fact, I think she was sitting in this seat.
I do remember seeing her on the cast
Yeah.
last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the fly
She
one.
was, yeah.
On the far side.
Yeah, on the far side.
Yeah.
Well,
Side
anyways,
note, 2 episodes ago, I think I said we're both single men. I didn't mean that. I meant we're both unmarried men. I wanted to clarify that. Yes, my beautiful girlfriend was on the show last week. We're celebrating 8 months today.
Hey,
The
congratulations.
day that we were recording.
8 months
8 months. Yes, sir.
together.
Yes,
What
sir.
y'all about to go do?
Yes, sir.
Have you cheated?
No.
That was so unwarranted.
What?
What is wrong with this guy?
We gonna be. The
gonna
name
be
of
real.
our tagline is
Raw,
raw, honest. Be honest. Question: have any of y'all ever cheated?
Absolutely. Not.
Absolutely not. Not even ever crossed my head.
You said absolutely, just a little bit too. I got a little scared. Okay.
I thought he was about to say absolutely.
I was gonna be like, yes.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
I'm an advocate for cheating.
No.
No cheating on
No
the table?
cheating, man.
No, never.
That's good.
No.
That's
Yeah,
good.
That's toxic.
I mean, I believe cheating has its right place.
Like cheating on a test?
Whoa.
You're trying to say some out-of-pocket stuff that you don't
I'm
even
going
believe.
into student affairs. I can't say I advocate for cheating.
I know. So what cheating do you advocate for?
I advocate for cheating on diets.
Mm.
You shouldn't.
Meal plans.
Meal plans.
I see.
I mean, but listen, if you're going to cheat, don't be with one. That's the quote of the day. But if you want to cheat, there are so many ways in which you can do it successfully. Do I encourage you to do it? No. But if you're going to do it, just be smart about it, you know? Anyways.
What's wrong with you, man?
All right, so the first question today is a hot take. True or false?
Wow.
Should a man... What do you mean, wow?
Nothing. Just continue.
Okay, true or false? Should a man make as much or more than the woman he's dating? And should he be in a position to provide for her? Again, the keyword is dating. So whoever wants to go first can take it.
I'll go ahead and go first because I don't think I got too much to say aside from my answer, which is I half of that I find true, half of that I find false. But for the most part, I find it false because you said that they're dating, they're not married. Even if they were married, I feel like in the year 2021, there's no place for, you know, like men should be making X amount more than their wife. I just don't think that's really a thing, especially considering, you know, like a person like me, I want to go into videography, which is not, you know, your typical 9 to 5. It's more opportunity based and you're working sporadically. And there might be some months where I might be down a little bit. There might be a lot of work, and she might work a 9 to 5, whatever. She bringing in most of the money at that time. But for the sake of that's like sidetracking a little bit. Like for the sake of them just dating, if you just dating, no, I don't think they should have to make equal or more. But you should still be able to provide, though, if that makes sense, in ways that are not financial.
Okay, like what?
Oh, yeah.
that's
like
good.
what? You said
Well,
like
I
financial.
mean, obviously you got to be able to please each other both physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yes.
And all that. I mean, it's just as important as being financially stable. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I think you should be able to
I see what you're
provide
saying.
in some way,
I see what you're
or
saying.
in all the ways that she needs you to provide for her.
Okay.
And yeah.
I got
Okay.
you.
Zay?
To go just straight at it, I would say false. I would say no. Like it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I would say even more so. I think it's up to the couple. I mean, like.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, when you start to talk to somebody, if you're a manager somewhere at a bank or something, and then you're like, person that you're talking to is like a teacher, like it's, you know, obviously going to be a difference in wages.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might not be purposeful, but like, what if it's the other way around and I'm a teacher and she's a manager at the bank? Like, she would obviously just make more money simply for where she went, the career path she went.
Right.
with. So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just whatever works out. Like, I mean, and also how you're raised, whatever you, like, grow up and see
Okay.
is kind of, like, what you are initially, I think, attracted to. But obviously, you got to be open to change.
You have to be.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what if you make a lot of money, but then your person comes along and makes even more money? Like, what if y'all both just make money, but she makes more? I'm cool with that.
Okay. Josh?
I agree with both of you, but in both of the examples you gave, you were working. I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
No woman wants a man without vision.
True.
You don't seek out a man who's unemployed and doesn't have a vision for himself.
Yes.
So I think
Okay.
if you are working, if you have a vision, if you have goals, but those goals don't lead to you making X amount more than your partner,
Yeah.
that's a very arbitrary, and honestly, it's just a dumb reason to not want to be with somebody.
Agreed.
Like,
Yeah.
you have a vision, you love me, and you provide, but I make $10,000 more a year. I make $5,000 more a year. I make $2,500 more a year, so I can't be with you. What kind of sense does that make?
Yeah.
I think I don't think
interesting.
that's fair. Now, financial stability is very important.
Right.
No woman wants to be with a man, nor does a man personally want to be financially unstable.
Yeah.
No woman wants to be with a man that she feels like she's going to have to struggle with. But if you aren't making more money than your girlfriend, but you have a vision, then why? I don't think that in itself is enough reason to break up or not want to be together.
Right.
Yeah.
These are all just very good opinions.
I feel like this was all just a build up for you to like steer off the highway
Yeah.
and just say something.
I think
Personally,
these
I
are
think we should
all
all
very
cheat.
good points.
Well,
But
one thing before you go, I was adding one other thing because you said about someone not having a job. I would be okay with not having a job after the conversation would be had, like with with
If
both.
there's an agreement, right?
Exactly,
right.
with both people initially having jobs, like he was saying.
Yeah.
Like, let's say she's like a breadwinner, making a whole bunch, and I'm making good money, but they're like, listen, I want to work, you want to stay home, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's
Maybe
just
you have children.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
really think, like I said, it's just communication and what people want to do. I mean, if your wife wants to work, and the husband wants to work, then y'all both gonna work.
Yeah.
And then you just pay for an in-home nanny or something, or send them to daycare, or
okay.
do whatever.
Okay.
you do.
All right. It's my alternator messing up. But listen, I think it should be a conversation, you know. And I think unfortunately this generation has been tainted by social media. And they just want a Birkin bag after dating someone for 6 months. We are both in college, ma'am. You have $40,000 worth of debt. I have 60. Let's not do that.
Do you think all girls want Birkin bags though, or just
It's being
that-
popularized.
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Or that, but you have to understand, popularized social media. There's a lot of people on social media,
Pause.
and there's only
Let
a
me finish
small
my point.
there's only a small percentage of people that chase the like clout wave, and then everyone else is just users of social media. You have to understand.
That's
that.
true. I agree.
You're making
I
a good
agree.
point.
And there's a class of female that likes the Birkin bag. So like, if you're attracted to that class of female, then that might be what you have to deal with.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, just making
But
sure.
let's be real, okay? On where we're at that current point.
Okay.
No one is going to be a little baby and go buy up an entire Foot Locker store
Of course.
at this
Of course
current
not.
point. Okay, we're trying to get there
Yeah.
to one day own a Foot Locker.
I mean,
Okay.
Maybe.
yeah,
and maybe
I mean,
that's not
I
even the
guess.
goal. Maybe that's
Yeah,
not even the
I mean,
goal.
if it's a
Maybe-
good business venture.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think a man should be able to, in my personal opinion, I don't believe, and this is not even just with females. This is just me in general. Like when I ask someone to hang out, you know what I'm saying? I should not be expecting them to pay. So like when
agree.
I personally take someone on a date or something, I don't even try to calculate a scenario in which they're paying and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when, like, hanging out with the bros, I don't even think about the fact that somebody else is paying and I'm not going to pay. Like, that's something I just am engraved in. And they are witnesses to that. Am I right?
I can confirm.
Exactly. Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
I said, mm-hmm.
He just got
No.
dead silent.
No,
but
I'm
yeah,
listening
you
to
know, so like that is just something that I feel is important and should be a conversation. Basically, if I'm hearing everyone correctly, it needs to be a conversation
It does.
between
It does.
whoever is in that relationship,
Yep.
so that when it comes to these types of discussions, it's not anything new. So like if someone comes up and says, after y'all been dating for a while and you're going into that angle of marriage, you're like, you know what, I think I just want to be a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mom. It won't be anything brand new
Right.
with someone that you've basically fell in love with, and now you're like, bro, who are you?
Yeah.
You
Right,
know?
yeah.
And conversations, to me, are what make a relationship healthy.
Agreed.
Like, you can't have a good, solid relationship, a good, solid base, a good thing
Foundation.
to build on
Yeah.
if there's not a strong communication. So, what to you all makes a healthy relationship? And if you can, just provide some examples for the people.
I mean, we already just touched on really everything a lot, and as cliche as it sounds, it really does just come down to two people talking to each other. Like,
Okay.
I feel like too many people get involved with somebody without really, like, they just know the surface level stuff, and they like the surface level stuff, and that's enough for people to try and commit to somebody. And then you commit to somebody, and you get, past the point where surface level stuff is all you need, and it's like, oh, well, this bill is due and this is happening, blah blah, you're moving in with each other, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get to know the real person inside, and that stuff you should already know before you even think about making any like serious commitments to people. So it really does just come down to like being patient. I feel like in the preliminary stages of getting in a relationship will aid it in being healthy in the long run. And I also feel like, I mean, just literally talking and seeing what the other person, how they conduct themselves, and what you need to do to make it work beforehand. And if that works for you, then proceed. But if not, it might need to be nipped in the bud if they can't long term be what you need them to be.
I like that.
That's
I like
good.
that a lot.
That's kind of tough. Zaytoven?
I mean, he touched on a lot of good points, like communication. I would say trust. That's big. And then honestly, like being real. Like I think a lot of people really hold on to relationships because they have like ideas of what it could be.
Okay.
And like they really look over
That's good.
who that person really is.
Yeah.
And like even when they're showing them, like when they're literally revealing themselves straight to that person, they'll be like, oh no, that's not who they are. Just because it wasn't who they like thought they were, or maybe it wasn't who they like made an assumption about, And I think that the quicker that you realize that like whatever it is what it is, then you can like really navigate that space. Because like if you notice that, oh, they'll change, know that like that is how they are, then you can come to each other and be like, hey, are we okay with dealing with this still? Yes, okay, what are we going to put in place to like maneuver that space, because that's just what it is. Which ties back into communication.
Yeah.
So I mean, really just being open and realizing that like it's you and that person against the world, and not the other way around.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Well, both of you mentioned is honesty.
Yeah.
Trust. Zeke, I like how you said, and you said it too, Zay, the people get into a relationship for the superficial things, or because they're more invested in the idea of a relationship than their actual partner.
Speak.
Like, I just want to be in a relationship. And I think we've all been there. Everybody
Right there,
had
right
that.
now.
Everybody had that season in middle school or high school or college.
In college.
Or college.
Right now.
Where you're tired of being single, or you got a lot of friends that are in relationships.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not even a relationship. They just got somebody they're talking to, and you want to have somebody you're talking to.
Man.
And so, the women talked on this last week too. So you settle.
Woohoo!
What are our standards? She's cute. She likes me. I like her. We're dating now. No, that's not a healthy relationship. No. Healthy relationship has commitment, and in order for you to have commitment, you need to have trust. I need to trust that I'm committing to the right thing. Like, for example, not putting anybody's business out here, but on several occasions, you and I, Elijah, I'm not putting anybody's business out.
You just did!
No, I haven't even finished my sentence.
You just said, on several occasions, you and I, Elijah.
What? You and I have had conversations about cars. Like when I got a new car, we were talking about cars. And you asked me, what kind of car is it? What color is it? What year is it? How many miles are on it? Because if you were buying the car, you would want to know all these things before you get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know all these things, your car might break down in 2 seconds.
I'm scared of where you're going with this, but go ahead.
I'm done. That's my point. That's my whole point. Before you invested in the car, you wanted to know how it would operate. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And that's why I think one thing that makes a relationship healthy is friendship. I cannot date a stranger. I can't.
Most definitely.
I cannot date a stranger. I could follow a stranger on Instagram. I could even go out for a date with a stranger. But I can't be in a committed relationship with a stranger. I want to date my best friend. I want to marry my best friend.
Right.
Because if we're friends first, I already know a lot about how you operate. If we're friends long enough, we're going to have conflict eventually. we're gonna have an argument.
Yeah.
And we're gonna learn how we manage that conflict, how
Yeah.
we resolve that conflict. If we're friends long enough, you're gonna see my ugly side. I can't fake forever.
That's true.
Right.
It
I can't
sure
fake
is ugly.
forever.
That is
Exactly. You're going to find out who the real me is. You're going to see some of my flaws. You're going to see some of my insecurities. But if you're willing to stay with me through that, now I can invest in you because we have friendship. So I'll say that's another thing that makes a relationship healthy.
Whew. These are all so good. I mean, so good. So I have a question. Like,
Okay.
a lot of y'all brought up trust, right? And so I guess my question is, can you love someone that you don't trust?
Yes.
Woo, really? No.
Can you love someone
Can
that you
you
don't
love someone?
trust? Most definitely, you can have love for somebody and not trust them. I mean, well, first off, let's just start with just what love is. I mean, you love your family members, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of it that you don't
let
trust.
me let me
No, it's all the same. You
No.
can literally fall in love with someone and then them break your trust, but you still love them, but don't trust them.
That's good. That's
So
very
then, should you
accurate.
still be with them?
Well, then
That's the
obviously you
second
have to
part of
make
the
that
question.
decision. Do you want to build that trust bridge back and stay with them, or do you want to cut them off and heal and move on?
No, you should not be. Go ahead, Zeke.
What?
But the answer is no. You cannot be with anyone that you love and don't trust.
That wasn't your question. You said.
Yeah, that's not what
you
you
said.
said.
Can you love somebody that
Not
you
can
don't
you be
trust?
with
Not,
somebody.
Okay.
not be with somebody.
Okay, let me add on to it.
Okay.
Can you be with someone that you love? Well, should you? I guess should you?
Well,
is
that's
even better.
well. First off, that's literally completely up to the two people in that relationship. Not, how can you decide if two people should or can be together? Like, if someone cheated on each other, then you guys have to decide. Like, are you going to forgive them and stay with them, or is that going to be the end of your relationship? Has nothing to do with Elijah, unless Elijah's the dude that either got cheated on or cheated.
Say that again. That's a good point. A lot of people like to
let me tell you.
insert their
Let me
2
tell
cents
you. Let me
in
tell you
other
what
people's
makes a
relationships.
relationship healthy.
Okay.
When it is you and them,
And that's it.
Yeah.
and everybody else can shut up.
I mean, whoever you let in is obviously acceptable.
Yeah, wise counsel and
Yeah.
of course the Lord.
But like, if you're not reaching out for that, then
Right.
people
Oh,
are allowed
yeah.
to give whatever opinions they want, but you have to know that, like,
Right.
you gotta shut
Exactly.
it off.
Your best friend should
Gotta
not know
shut
that
off.
you're angry before I do.
Facts. Facts.
Period. I should not tell my best friend that I am hurt before I tell you.
That's good.
But you don't have to be the problem solver.
You don't have to be the problem solver.
Like, they can tell you you're upset, and then they can go talk to their friend.
Right. And maybe they just need that time, that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in my personal opinion, what makes a relationship healthy, in addition to like that trust and love part, is it needs to be you two. That's it. Now I agree there should be wise counsel, but I think there's a certain level of wise counsel that they're at. Like
Right.
there are
Right.
certain things that
Agreed.
just stay between the two that never go outside
Yeah.
of the two.
I think it should be more situational counsel
Yes.
than it is like, this is what he did, this is what I did. What should we do?
Yeah,
it should be.
matters.
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be like, okay, we've had a conversation. This is where we can't agree or get past. Like,
Right.
what do you guys have to say? They don't need to know all the little details. Like, that would be more so for, like, marriage counseling. Like, when you're
Yeah,
ready to seal the
okay.
deal.
Premarital
Okay.
counseling.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
exactly. Like, that's more for that. Like, and that's a whole nother section of the relationship that you gotta
Yep.
get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can really. I think you made a really good point there. I
Yeah.
can personally attest. In former relationship, though I was like, we were both children, but there was a lot of like oversharing with people that had literally nothing to do
with it.
with anything that happened.
Yeah.
Like getting on social media, the whole nine, and that would we still be together had that not been happening? I don't know, probably not. But the chances of it, would have
Are
been
higher.
right
Yeah.
if we would have just kept it between the two of us. I feel like
That
it
is
would've
so true.
Privacy.
Privacy.
Yeah.
Like
Makes a
just
relationship healthy.
keeping it 1-2.
Yeah.
I do not want to see no one what is it called when someone talks about you on social media but don't at you?
Subtweeting.
Yeah.
Subtweeting on Twitter, but what is
Yeah.
it on Instagram? What is it called? There's a phrase for it that I can't think of.
I've
but
never heard of this.
It's like
You're just talking behind somebody's back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like ghosts.
Well, it's
So you're
like,
throwing shade.
it's like, yeah, you being shady. It's
yeah,
like,
I don't want to get no.
it's like you
shade
ain't
from
saying
it.
Elijah, but you
Yeah.
saying exactly what
Exactly.
Elijah said.
But you talking about me.
And you
You're
know,
talking about me.
that he's gonna see it, but like you're not gonna add him.
Exactly.
Right.
You ain't gonna
He's just gonna read.
know what that's called? That's
he's
called
gonna
being
read the post, and he's gonna be like, "Oh
That's called
man,
being
that's about me."
passive-aggressive.
right. And I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to do that if
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship with someone.
That's good.
And a lot of you are like, Elijah, how do you know this? Because I have been the shady one.
Mm.
Low key, I
There's
still
the honesty.
am. I still am.
I
a
appreciate
little
you
bit,
saying that.
You know. Oh, and side note for anyone who's watching, I am relationally immature.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there, and it's a choice, right? You can be relationally immature by choice.
You can.
100%. I mean, you can just be immature by choice.
In any
I am
setting.
mature.
In any
I'm just
setting.
not mature.
In relationships.
I wasn't saying you were. I was saying just.
I can attest to that from a platonic level as well. Just our friendship. I sometimes feel like I see that shining through a little.
Whoa!
But-
Pause. We're
but-
not. This is not my.
You brought it up.
This is your
You know,
podcast.
I mean, I
I'm
wasn't
just
even
being
commenting. I was more
honest.
so saying just like just remove relationship from the thing, like just straight immaturity
Yeah,
is
in
a
general,
choice.
in
That's at
general.
one point in time, like it comes to the point if you know what to do, but you opt
Choose
to
not to
do
do
it
it,
different, then you're being immature, but you know how to be mature.
Yeah.
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 And I think, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because like, what often happens in relationships that we see is that people are immature, right? But they want something that they're not ready for. That's a word. That's a word right there.
Say that
A
again.
lot of us want something that we're really not ready for. And so we push through all of the maturity stages that we have to go through just because we think this is where we need to be.
Yeah.
And it's awful. And it damages so many people. Last season, when we did a relationship series like this, we talked about like the damage that you can put someone through
Yeah.
being emotionally immature and just irresponsible with the words that you throw out.
I see.
And just not being cautious with like the conversations that you have with individuals regarding relationships. In the episode with the all-female panel, like they kind of, I don't want to say it, but like you could, like in my opinion, it felt like there was a lot of things that males have done to damage a lot of those situations, but no one went back to rectify it.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it comes to, and this is just to any person watching, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, be okay, be mature enough if you make the mistake. We talked about a little bit about cheating.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to cheat, be mature enough to say,
I
"Yo,
cheated. Yeah.
Cheating.
I cheated.
For sure.
A lot of us don't, really appreciate the song where it says, when you love someone, you just don't treat them bad. Oh, how I feel so sad now that I want to leave. What's the name of that song, Josh?
I don't know. I'm about to look it up.
Crying
I'm really getting
to
exposed.
see, I just let. What would the time to see? Where I Want to Be is the name of the song. Yes. And a lot of us need to sit back and say, okay, where do I
By
want to be?
Donnell Jones?
By Donnell Jones. There you go.
Dang.
And when
I'm
you're
really
looking at
fake.
where you want to be, a lot of times you are kind of figuring out what you want in someone. So there may be some people watching who are like, what should I be looking for in a partner? And so you don't have to talk specifically to them, but like, actually, I'm gonna start with the two who are in a relationship.
Okay.
When you were looking for someone, if you were, what exactly were you looking for in that person? And either one of y'all can go.
You wanna go first? You
No.
wanna go first? All right. So
You should go first.
I will start off and say that when me and Kiana, that's my girlfriend, when me and Kiana first got together, I didn't even want a girlfriend. I was a senior. It was like December, January, and I was like, all right, I'm about to go to college. I don't want to be in a relationship with anyone because I don't want to like have it affect my decisions or anything like that. But I say all that to say that I was looking for someone that wanted like long term. Like I purposely didn't want to date in high school because I wanted someone that wanted to get married.
That's good.
Like I didn't want to date someone
Wow.
and learn each other and then break up and just to be a 2-3 year relationship and then we have to do it again in the middle of college.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
so someone long term, someone that was like and I say young adult men, it's sometimes hard because depending on where they are in their life will depend on what they think they're looking for, or what they want to be looking for.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I mean, just longevity, and someone that's kind of ready to get their life together too, and is willing to kind of take it on, because I mean, there's a lot of changes from like when you graduate high school to when you graduate college. Like you probably change every year and a half.
Yeah.
Like what your aspirations are, what's on your mind every day, just what you're thinking about. Like those things change, and if you have someone that's willing to stay open and communicate those changes, I mean, if it's the right person, they'll obviously line up.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Josh, what about you? What were you looking for when you were going into this realm of dating?
Good question. First, I want to compliment you, man.
Appreciate you.
As your desire as a senior in high school to want longevity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very rare. A lot of guys, myself included, are scared of commitment. And I will be the first to admit I do have commitment issues. Not with committing to.
Really?
I'm good. Yes, we're gonna talk about
Let
it.
him elaborate. Let him
We'll talk about
elaborate.
this. Not with committing to a person, but committing to too many things, if that makes sense.
I see.
I'm committed to this volunteer activity. I'm committed to this student org. I'm committed to this service in my church. Excuse me. I'm committed to my family. Oh, no, I don't have any room for a relationship. Because I'm committed to too many other things. Excuse me. And because I'm committed to so many other things, I'm afraid that I'll fail in a relationship. And I operated out of fear a lot. So just like you mentioned, your perspective on relationships change as you change, as you develop. And when I met Courtney, when Courtney and I became friends, I was in a season of that transition. It was right before the pandemic.
I remember it well.
I was about to turn 20.
Okay.
I was going into my junior year in college. And since my senior year, my desire for relationships had not changed, but what I'm looking for in a relationship hadn't changed, but my perspective changed. I started to view dating in my current season as a hindrance. Like I just need to focus on me.
Yeah.
And dating or pursuing a woman with the intention of being married someday is going to slow me down, because I do want to be married someday. So if I want to be a husband, if I want to be a father, if I want to be a social worker, if I want to be a motivational speaker, let me just get myself together before I even think about pursuing someone. But ain't it always when you're not looking?
That's when it comes.
That's when it comes, right?
Listen, it's hard to tell people that because it's real hard to not look. But it's literally
Exactly.
when
And
you're
I
not
wasn't
doing,
looking.
It's when
I
you're
wasn't
literally
looking.
not looking. You just like doing you,
Right.
doing whatever. Then that's when they come along.
But I will say, before I had any interest in Courtney, she was my friend.
That's what's up.
She was my friend. And that's really what I was looking for. In a relationship, I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for a conversation partner. I want somebody that I can laugh with. Someone that I can have a serious discussion like this with, but also somebody who will roast me.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
feel
saying?
that. I feel that.
I want somebody that I can take to church and Zumbizi Bay.
I get you.
You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
I want somebody that
I
can
didn't know
have-
where he was going with that second part.
and the club.
Got
No.
you. That's what I'm going.
But listen, but one other thing I will add, I will say that I can't speak or attest too much to young adult men and what they are looking for in people as far as being single, because I haven't really been single in my young adult years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I've dated her since I was 18 and she was 16 going on 17, like senior and junior year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's 5.5 years since we were in high school. So like, I get when you say like you were kind of trying to get yourself straight before, like we just started dating. You know, you're in high school. You're like you talk for a bit. We talked over Christmas break. I'm like, yo, you trying to be my girl? She's like, yes. And then there we are. We're together right before I graduate high school. So I mean, we became friends like during the course of our relationship,
Gotcha.
rather than like being
Gotcha.
friends before. Like I mean, from the time that we talked to each other on Instagram to the time that we talked to each other on text messages, like I mean, it was maybe like a month. It was over like Christmas break.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, we had a class the entire like first semester, but I mean it's like class in high school.
Yeah.
And I skipped a lot in high school. I was ready to go, so
I feel that.
I wasn't there. So I mean,
I feel
Yeah.
that. So
they should be your friend.
really? Okay.
Yes. I won't-
Okay.
They don't need to be before.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying, at some point in time in
You
your
have to be friends.
relationship,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys need to become friends
Yeah.
because, like, when you're your friend, it makes things seem like that would once seem controlling, not really seem controlling. Like to say, like, I need to know where you're going and what you're doing sounds controlling. But if it was your friend, you voluntarily give up what you're doing because you guys are friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, oh, such and such hit me up to go out. Like, I'm going to go out with them tonight.
Okay.
That's something you would tell your friend.
Yeah.
But if you're in an interesting relationship, y'all being strangers, it's probably going to be positioned as trying to, like, cause jealousy or something.
Yeah.
You know, and you requesting to it sounds demanding, which
Yeah.
is, like, what some social media typically takes within it runs is a demanding, like, trying to, you know.
Territorial,
Trying to control things. But it's really like, no, if you guys are best friends, you talk about everything. So there's nothing that shouldn't be talked about. You see what I'm saying?
Oof. So Zeke.
Let's hear it, bro.
So let's hear. What are you looking for? If you are looking right now, what does that look like? And like, just talk about it.
I will put a bit of a prerequisite before I start talking. Is that I'm a firm believer that whatever is meant for you, like God will deliver to you, and it'll happen when it happens, and you'll know when it happens.
Yeah.
So at no point in my life do I think I have or ever will be actively pursuing a relationship, like going out in the world looking for a girlfriend.
Okay.
That's just not something
That's
I'll
not
do.
you.
I like that.
I do believe when you feel like that person has been delivered to you in a sense, it is your job to start
Pursue
courting
her,
in a
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna like go like, oh my God, I need a girlfriend. Let me hop on Tinder. Let me do this. Like that's just not gonna happen.
You're not
That's
trying to
not
go to
me.
bars discovering.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
not me.
I see what you're
I
saying.
feel you. Okay.
So it's kind of hard for me to say what I'm looking for. I do hold a certain standard as to who I feel like I would pursue.
Okay.
There's no like physical like what's the word? I'm looking for?
Limitation?
Yeah.
Limitations as to
Okay.
as far like I don't have like a preference or whatever.
Okay.
But all I do ask is that like what a lot of you guys attested to earlier was talking about how like you're committed to a bunch of other things right now. And as a young adult, I'm also in college. I'm committed to 1,000,001 things,
Yeah.
and I'm sure whoever I'll be speaking to will also be committed to 1,000,001 things. So I think it's very important for each of you to understand that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I need to do what I need to do so I'm stable in the future and I can hold it down if we ever are to become something in the future, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the number one priority for me is making sure that I can do what I actually need to do first, if that makes sense.
That does.
And that's a big mistake a lot of people definitely make is they get into relationships when they're not ready. We talked about that a lot already. I can attest to it. My little cousin is chilling at my house right now. His mom started having babies when she was like 16.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not putting down teen moms or anything like that, but I am saying like she obviously wasn't ready to have kids. She started spewing out a bunch of kids, and now they're not in a great situation. And I just think because her priorities weren't straight. That's always number one. Your priorities got to be straight.
Yeah.
So I just understanding that and understanding that the other person you're with has commitments and that sometimes those things might be higher up on the list of priorities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And other than that, I mean, just a woman that has faith, and really that's it. I'm
I
not
agree.
picky.
Okay.
That's really all I gotta say.
I mean, you guys are in a hard time to be single. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
a hard time in your life to be single right now because you have to kind of weigh yourself
Yeah.
and how much of yourself you want to give up to
Yeah.
make it work with somebody.
Yeah.
Which really, that's also another big thing. It's a choice. Relationships are a choice.
It is
man.
a choice.
Every day you wake up, you gotta
Man.
make that choice.
You have to consciously make that decision every
Yeah.
day.
Every
like,
day.
Okay.
I'm
This is what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
what I'm choosing to do.
Yeah.
I'm choosing you.
Yeah.
Um,
And at some point in time, it will become automatic.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That choice is just you wake up just desiring.
Yeah,
you know?
the same way you brush your teeth. Nobody has to tell you.
Exactly.
But a relationship is not just another priority.
Some people got to be told to brush their teeth, but I get what you're saying.
That's concerning.
Yeah. That's
But
That's very
so
concerning.
for me, I guess if I was looking right now, not really, because like
you're not ready to mingle.
it's not that I'm not ready. That's just too much work. Like Josh talked about overcommitted, bruh. Like if there was a picture next to overcommit, I'm pretty sure every one of us would be next to
Yeah,
it.
we're in the
because,
dictionary.
Like,
I'm in the dictionary.
everyone, like, knowing all these guys personally, like, the schedules are, like, packed. Like, seriously. So, like,
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's like, to even think about what I'm looking for, I would have to neglect something else during that time of what I'm looking
That's
for.
heavy.
And it's like, and like you said, like, it's a choice to do that. Like, when you're in a relationship or you're pursuing a relationship, it is a conscious choice to be like, okay, I am going to dedicate this time to speak with you, to communicate, to even begin the conversation. But a lot of times it's like, I just don't want to do that, and I don't want to go into that way. And I think what we're seeing now is I don't want, hear me clearly, I don't want what it takes to be in a relationship, but I will sure enough, Alex, take the benefits of a relationship for 300. Which is, the benefits of a relationship doesn't even have to just be sex. It can just be the attention, just be the constant FaceTime calls, constant text messages. Just that piece right there is oftentimes what I can see a lot of guys looking for. And also females, they don't want to take the reputation, but they be out there of where they don't want necessarily the commitment that comes with a relationship, but they want all the perks, which is, someone's attention, someone's time, someone's care, So I think it's kind of like figuring out, okay, do I want the perks of the relationship, or do I want what an actual relationship is? Like, I think all this other stuff is like a perk to it, it's an addition, it's a good toy that comes with a Happy Meal, but it's not really what the relationship should be centered upon. But
Correct.
and it's like, but it's kind of hard to kind of understand and see that a lot of times. And that's why, like, I know I said I'm relationally immature, but to know this type of stuff and to be conscious of it is kind of a level of maturity to where, like, I know I'm going to damage someone with the way that I think right now and the way that I am. So let me not do that.
That's why it's a choice.
It's a choice. It is a choice to be in this place. So again, like, it's a constant waking up every day. Okay, I am
This is what
going
I
to
want.
pursue this.
Yeah.
I'm going to actively be a part of this and want to do it. And I think just hearing our perspectives is like, I can get a general view of, like, this may be what a lot of guys think, but in like just understanding it, what are some things that you think some women misunderstand about men when it comes to relationships? So for instance, for me, I think they misunderstand the importance of priorities a lot of times for men. Like, depending on how you were raised, which again goes back to, like, this big point we're trying to throw at you, which is communication between you and that individual. It's like the way you were raised is a different priority for what a relationship should look like on a daily basis.
Correct.
So, like, some relationships could be, yo, good morning, talk to you in a little bit in a day, and good night. And that's good for some people. Some people need that constant communication.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
people have different love languages. So, like, some is words of affirmation, some is physical contact, some is gifts. So it's like, I think sometimes women misunderstand the levels of priorities that men have, because a lot of times it's okay, I don't want to get scrutinized for this one, but I'm gonna say it. Most women don't see men as emotional people. And so with the way that we sometimes display our emotions, it comes off as if we don't want to be contacted or hugged or be in that moment, because the way we display our emotions isn't normalized as it should be. And so that to me is like one thing that I can really see women getting wrong about men, is our priorities are just different. And the way that we express ourselves emotionally is different. And because, especially as we're all black men, for years it wasn't normal for men to cry.
Exactly.
It wasn't normal for men to
Exactly.
say, I am angry, I am sad, I'm depressed. So now that we're kind of, I guess I'll say, awakening to that, there's a lot of things that come with that awakening and in that communication that is like kind of hard to understand if you don't have that, communication from the jump point.
Elijah, I'm so glad you said that. Thank you for mentioning that not all men feel the same. Not all men express emotion the same. But thank you for mentioning that it wasn't normalized
Yeah.
for men, specifically black men,
Mm-hmm.
to express any emotion other than anger.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good point.
And
I didn't think
because
about
of that, oftentimes men are viewed as apathetic creatures. That's key. Thank you for saying that. Personally, I agree that it's difficult at times, from my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
for men to be viewed as emotional or caring, gentle, sensitive, and sometimes, because of the busyness
Yeah.
of the schedule and because of different relationship dynamics, it can appear from the outside looking in that one person is more committed simply because of how much time they're available,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. My girlfriend's love language is quality time. And as I mentioned, I'm very busy, overcommitted. But I love what you said about prioritizing, Zeke. If, for example, my phone is ringing right now, I don't know who it is. Don't think it's my girlfriend because she knows I'm recording right now. But let's say the person who's calling is important. I didn't pick up because recording this episode right now is the priority.
Right.
It doesn't mean that whoever just called is less important to me than
Yeah.
you.
Right.
But it does mean that this has my full attention, that my time is committed to this right now. And I'm sure whoever called me understands. Sometimes it might seem like, on the woman's side of things, she's not understanding
Yeah.
that there are other priorities. And that's how, and we're going to talk about this later in the episode, sometimes women can get the title clingy. And I don't
yeah.
want to speak for women as if I am one, but men will call that woman clingy, will label that woman clingy, because it seems that she is not understanding the other time commitments. But, and this goes back to standards, men and women both, but men want a woman who supports their vision, someone who will cheer them on,
Yeah.
and someone that they can count on to cheer her on, if that makes sense. So I think one thing that women misunderstand about men is our busyness doesn't mean we don't care.
Yeah.
My time schedule doesn't mean that I don't love you.
Yeah.
And I need a woman who's going to challenge me, and I want to be able to show her by the time that I commit to her that I do care.
Yeah.
Because you can't say you don't care about something that you don't give your time to. Time is the only resource that you can't get back if you lose it. It's non-renewable. If I spend money on you, I can make it back. If I spend time with you, I can't go back to the past and get it back.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
So I want to spend time, but I also need you to understand that I have my time committed to other areas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, bro.
Any of y'all want to take that on? What's up?
I don't got too much more to add. All I'll say is that aside from COVID, there's another pandemic that I think plagues our people right now,
Which is what?
and I think that's like overgeneralizing people and putting a certain group of people into one big group. And I'm referring to men and women both do this all over social media. Men are this and women are this and that's it. There's no subcategories. It's just all men are this, all women
Yeah.
are this. And I think people, though I do understand that it's like us as men probably do need to work as a bigger group unit to maybe help uplift the image of men in general, because there are a lot of no good dudes out there just as there are no good women out there. But I do think people need to, it's hard to just like discredit like things that people have gone through in the past, because I know like emotional trauma and stuff like that can be very difficult to shake.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think people need to keep that out of their perspective of the whole. Like if one dog bites me, I'm not gonna say all dogs are terrible
bad,
because
yeah.
they're biting. Like, no, that's just
Right.
not how it is. And I think that's why like guys like you are lucky to have women right now that you've been with for a while, because in the current climate of things,
Yeah.
it's just people aren't in the mindset or don't feel like they can be in a relationship because they just have negative feelings about men in general, and same thing vice versa. So yeah, that's all I mean.
Yeah.
I forgot the actual question was answered.
Yeah,
But,
like you answered it. It was,
Yeah.
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 What about you, Zay?
I mean, I think honestly the biggest thing is just what you guys are all attesting to is, I mean, the emotional aspect of it. I mean, I will say I was raised by just my mom, so we were very open, like, you know, communication all the time. So like emotions, like what it was, you just told them what the emotion was,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. So for me, like, when I got in a relationship, like that was just always my take. Like I already knew that they expect you not to be emotional, so you have to show your emotion, or people don't see. You know, like if someone does something you don't like, you can't just ignore it and then be like annoyed the rest of the day, like mad, making decisions because you're mad. You know, like if you just tell them that you're mad, then they can say they're sorry, and then the 30 seconds that it takes to just say, yo, that really upset me, and they apologize, can be all gone. And you can be good, and you can say, all right, man, it still made me mad, but they apologize, so like, now that's your decision. And it's like, I'm not just going to sit here and stay mad, you know, but if you don't say your emotions because you're just like, oh, they wouldn't care anyways, or like, they're used to me not showing my emotions, so it's just whatever, then it's like, it all goes back to the communication. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, honestly, our generation, as bad as we are at spreading stereotypes across social media, we're also great at challenging stereotypes. And, you know, I can't find very many things that I think that they misunderstand. You know, I think it's just, there's always going to be stereotypes, but you have to know that, you know, stereotypes are real because somebody had to see this many people do it for it to be a thing, but at the same time, it's not everyone. You know, and like, you know, kind of like what Zeke was saying is about what's taught. I mean, if you grow up in a household that doesn't teach you that there's anything different than the stereotype that society has put on your, like your color or just your gender or whatever, like, then unfortunately you might have to do a little bit of searching yourself or hope that someone in your life comes and maybe, you know, shares that knowledge with you, you know? So, I mean, like he was saying, I mean, you know, past traumas or just the way you were raised can kind of shape things. And I mean, and if you meet the right person, they'll be willing to help you reshape your thought process as well. And it's not changing them, it's just reshaping. Like, the thing is it's okay to change if the person that's changing is open to it as well. Like, you know, it's okay to be in the wrong place as long as you're open to get to the right place. You know, so and maybe the misunderstanding is that men maybe aren't always open to changing. You know, it's just like how they are is how they are. But I mean, you know, I think we, like kind of what Zeke was saying again, you know, we just need to make sure that we are doing a good job of making sure we're letting people know what we want. You know.
That was good.
Stereotypes can only keep going if we keep playing into them.
That's true. And it's kind of hard. I know for me, an example, to like, I'm fighting against the stereotype of being a black man. Now I'm also fighting the stereotype of being a man, and it's a constant battle because with just being a man, there's this stereotype of just being ruthless and rude and all that type of stuff. Then as a black man, it's like you also have like every other stereotype of just being black as general, and then in addition, so like it's a constant battle. And then adding on the fact for black women also, like there's this constant battle of fitting into the women stereotypes. And then, so like
black stereotypes.
It seems what I'm seeing here is like the that when you're in a relationship with someone, whoever it is, like there has to be some type of honest conversations on like, okay, this is what I'm kind of dealing with, this is what I'm going through, and we need to talk about it. Like everyone just kind of jumping in just for fun, like
it's fine up front. It's fine if you're willing to recover and do what you may need to have done up front. You know, later. Like y'all can do whatever, go on the honeymoon stage, go on these cute dates, travel somewhere, and then you come back, be like, all right, so like now what's your favorite color? You know, like all right, tell me about your grandma or something. You know, like
there was this sermon I watched one time by Dr. Matthew Stevenson, and he had this. It was in his rated R series called The Levels of Intimacy.
Oh, yes.
And I always talk about this sermon because it literally kind of hit me in the face with a brick with how he kind of shaped it. It was like, okay, when you go into a house, the front door takes you where?
into that like that section, that area.
The front.
The like
Takes you to the house.
the place where you
Hallway.
typically like take your
Yeah.
shoes off, where the stairs are, where like
You
the
know, maybe it's
closet
a
is.
laundry
But
room.
there's a relaxation space.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a time. That's where you usually host your people because it's the living room.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a space where you host and you get to know people before you go up the stairs, before you go into the kitchen, before you go into the bathroom. There's that general space of like, okay, this is safe. And so I feel like a lot of people in our generation jump way past all of these stages, and then we come back and be like, wait a minute, your hair isn't blonde?
Yeah, I mean most.
It's
definitely.
like you're learning a brand new person, and in that discovery, like you kind of change your standards often. Pause.
But you
I
changed.
just like to say this real quickly, Josh. I want my credit because these transitions have been seamless
Yes.
today.
I was gonna type in.
Seamless
I was gonna
today.
type in. Great transition, but then I
Yeah.
realized
Okay.
it probably throws
But
you off.
when you
Like,
when
why
you
is
look
it
at a
changing?
relationship, and we got one more question after this, but like when you look at your relationships and going into those, like what are three of the most important standards to have in that? Like we've talked about some of the things people misunderstand about men, our different relationships, and all that type of stuff, and what we're looking for. And in that, what we're looking for, like, what is a standard that they have to meet in the relationship?
All right. I would say respect.
Okay.
Like you gotta respect your other half, and vice versa.
Okay.
You know. I would say the trust. You have to trust them. Standards, man. Standards are hard. Like, are you talking about more like the standards I'm talking about, or more like what type of standards are you asking? The standards of the relationship or standards of the person?
Both.
Both?
Both. But mostly standards of the relationship, I would say.
Yeah.
Because we already
So I'm-
talked about
yeah,
what you're looking
I mean-
for in a woman.
Yeah.
So to
So
say the words
standards in a
differently, I would say
relationship.
trustworthy instead of
Yes.
trust. I'll say trustworthy,
Yeah.
respectful,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say, I mean, like open.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta.
Yeah.
We both gotta be open books so we can navigate the space. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Zeke or Josh?
Go ahead.
I can. I don't know if I got three, but I
You
might
need
have.
three,
I might
just
have
have
a
a
couple. I think that the main thing I would say is that both of you have to have a very similar or almost identical understanding of what y'all want in the future. Because you can't proceed like knowing like, oh, I want a family, but my relationship,
yeah,
she doesn't
definitely.
want a family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like that's a
key.
pretty big roadblock to just keep
Yeah.
going with.
Yeah.
So just understanding exactly what y'all want from each other and what y'all want the future to look like,
That's
I would say
key.
is the number one.
That's good.
That's key.
Number one thing.
Yeah.
And then aside from that, I don't. It's really
That's
I-
good.
like I
That's
said.
good.
I
That's
don't.
good.
got-
That's good.
I don't
That's-
got
that's-
a lot.
That's huge.
That's the
That's
number
all
one
I
answer on the
need.
board.
That's huge.
If we
That's
both
a-
understand what we want, I don't see how anything can go wrong. If y'all are both working towards the same goal, I just don't see how y'all can. I mean, there's obviously a lot of roadblocks that y'all can
Yeah.
hit and things, ways that y'all can fail, but
But if
If
you're
you're
looking toward the
trying to
same
base-
goal, then you know,
Right.
no matter what, you gotta clear the obstacles to get to the goal.
yeah.
Right.
And that also goes into priorities, because then, if y'all both know y'all going to this goal, then y'all both know
What's
y'all got to
gonna
get
take-
this,
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
and
yeah.
this
Get
done.
there, exactly. The
Right.
pursuit
Yep.
of the execution. The execution is
Absolutely.
key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because ideas are overrated.
That's
Execution
what I
is
say that all
everything.
the time. Me and
Yeah.
Elijah was just talking about this.
Yeah.
We were working on getting another studio built up at Otterbein for a different show,
Uh-huh.
and we had this huge conversation about it. It sounded great, and I'm like, I sent an email like to everybody the next day planning everything. So I'm like,
Good. We
way
have to
too often
execute.
people talk about stuff and it
And then
never
don't
gets
do
touched.
it.
Right.
Man.
That's good.
And that's just a
Most
travesty to
definitely.
me.
And you have to execute. I 100% agree. But I want to throw in this caveat that sometimes, especially in young adulthood, goals change because we're in a season of transition.
That is true.
I was just having a conversation with one of my best friends last week. His name is also Josh, and we've been friends since high school. And I told him, now that I'm in college and a lot of things have changed, I'm more appreciative for the things that stayed the same.
Right.
Because not everything stays the same. So
true. Yeah.
because you know that some relationships are only for a season, there are some people that you were really close with in high school. You're not close with them anymore.
Not
And it's
at
not
all.
necessarily because they're bad people. And that on a side note, I want to clear that up about breakups too. It's not always that you break up because you're better than the other person. But sometimes the relationship is seasonal because you don't have the same long-term vision.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find someone who has a consistent relationship with you, treasure that, because it's not all that common. But visions do change.
Right.
So I think it's not only important that you have the same vision, but that you can agree on your purpose.
Yeah.
Because I can have a vision of graduating with a master's of social work, but once I graduate, I need a new vision, right? Because I already have it.
Yeah.
But I want to be a man of God. Like, I want the Lord to say to me, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So I want to be with someone who also wants that, because I know no matter what season we're in, God is going to be the same. And if He's in the center of our relationship, then at the very least, we have a great center.
Yeah.
We have an unchanging center, and it doesn't get any better than that. I'd say two other things that are really important. For me personally, because I do want a family, I want someone who values their relationships with other people too. Like, if you trust me, we have great trust, but you're gossiping about your friends, that's a red flag to me. Because I'm like,
Really?
how come
Okay.
you... No. I mean, and let's be clear.
Like,
If you have a problem with your friends, and you're telling me like, I have this problem with my friends, and then you go talk to your friends, that's cool.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if I notice you're constantly cutting off other people in your life, that's a problem to me. Like, if you don't respect or value the time with your family, that's big. And I understand you might have been hurt by your family, but if you have siblings and you don't want a relationship with your siblings, if I don't see you at the grocery store getting something for Father's Day, that, like, I'm just gonna wonder. I'm not saying I need my girlfriend to be the best daughter in the world, and she needs to love her parents like they're God. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to be a family person, and so I want my girlfriend to also be a family. I want her to have strong family values.
Yeah.
I want her to value her friendships and her family, and I want her to love God, because God is unchanging.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, I already harped on this, but a conversation partner. Like, if I can't have deep conversations with you, that's concerning to me. I want to know that we can go deep.
Yeah.
That I can debate. Like, for instance, Courtney, she likes K-pop, loves Korean pop. Never listened to not one K-pop record before I was with her. And I'm low-key throwing shade, but I feel like the only Kirk Franklin songs she knows are from the 90s. And so I'll play something, and I'm like, yo, you're fake you don't know this song? You don't know this song from da-da-da-da-da year? And she's like, no, I've never heard it. I'm like, you're fake. That's a casual conversation. But last night, we were talking about the Beatitudes in Matthew 5. Like, we can go deeper. We can talk about trauma. We've talked about divorce. We've talked about addiction. We've talked about violence. We've talked about social injustice. I want to be able to have deeper conversations with you, because I think that's how we grow in relationships.
Man, I hate going last. Because I think all of these standards that you all put out today are really good standards, and they're realistic. And I think oftentimes, like, I don't want to throw shade on anyone, but certain people have really unrealistic standards that they want people to meet. And I guess my one piece of advice or just thing to throw in is, like, if you're going to have these standards of another individual, please also apply these standards to your life. Like, if I want someone who is open to family and building that conversation, you know, like, I personally would be making a constant effort to do it, you know, or to be about it. And I think oftentimes what we see is people come in with these standards, right? And they want people to be like that, but they are nowhere near anything
standard.
like that. And so it's like it's a complete double standard. And it again, like, I'm really big on, like, the trauma that you put people through, because as you all may or may not know, I went through an extremely traumatic childhood. So, like, when I think of relationships and the impact of them, I think of not just you, but everyone around who is impacted by the choices you kind of make. And that's why, like, relationships to me are a really big deal if you do them, because when you're with someone and they bring you into their world and you bring them into your world, a lot of things just shifted and changed off of that one mention, that one conversation.
That is true.
And if you're not careful it can have a very negative impact on people, and you don't want that. Like, you don't want to have that piece that kind of ruins something else that someone had, you know? So, like, whenever it comes to that relationship, with that standard, for me, is just that communication, but also being aware of our impact. Like, not just with me and you, but basically to the whole world and our worlds together. Like, if I bring you around, right, and you kind of have this bad interaction with my siblings, that just shifted their perspective on, because I am the oldest sibling. Right. So a lot of things that I do, my siblings are going to follow and try to do. Right. So that interaction impacts them in ways they may not even be able to materialize at that moment, but it does do something to them. And I think it's so important to be cognizant and aware of the impact that you have when you're in a relationship or pursuing a relationship. Because the way you pursue a relationship, too, impacts everyone around you also. Because they're going to be the ones, if you have a good circle, a good knit of people around. Like, last year during the pandemic, I unfortunately was talking to someone. When I say unfortunate, it's because I did stupid stuff. But, there was I kept bringing in the wise counsel, right? But because I did not do this correctly, I negatively impacted her world, and in the same way my world, in the way that I carried myself when it comes to certain situations. And I wasn't aware of that in that moment. So I think for me, with these standards, be careful of how you impact and how you carry yourself with them.
That's key.
And I think for the last question on today, I think it's kind of what is like the best piece of relationship advice you've ever got, and kind of like give that to some of the listeners and viewers today, like a good nugget, like a good golden nugget. Not from McDonald's, but like from Chick-fil-A or
a higher quality place.
Higher quality, you know.
I see.
Maybe Wendy's, because they don't freeze.
You got anything?
You said you don't like to go last. Yeah, he's looking at you, not me. What you?
You said you didn't want to go last.
Yeah, Zeke, you go first.
You go last?
I've been going first all day.
The whole time.
I think you should.
Zeke, Josh, you should go.
I'll go first. I don't mind. First, shout out to my mom, Joy Mitchell. Love her, the greatest woman of all time. This is a piece of advice that she gave to me, that she also gave to my dad when they were dating. She said, don't mismanage my expectations. My parents started dating around the same time you started dating Kiana. And I forget the whole story. I don't even know if she's ever told me the whole story. But one day they were talking and they had a disagreement. And my dad said to my mom, oh, you don't like being disappointed. And she said, no, I don't like having my expectations mismanaged. If you would have told me to expect this, I wouldn't have been disappointed. Sometimes, because I don't know about you all, I'm a people pleaser. But just as men, because innately we do want to provide, or because we are called to lead, biblically speaking, we want to have it all put together. We might display or disclose some image of ourselves that's not realistic, and we're not, it's not only that we're dishonest with the woman we're talking to, or dishonest with God, although we are dishonest with the Lord, but we're dishonest with ourselves. And I love that you were honest with yourself, Elijah, saying, hey, I'm emotionally immature, or I don't want this. Or you, Zay, saying, I wasn't looking for a relationship, or I'm overcommitted. But when you're honest about your shortcomings, then you will not mismanage a woman's expectations. And there's trauma that you won't put her through. Right. Sometimes you might feel that the expectations or the standards a woman has for you, or a woman had for her man, were unrealistic. But could it be that the man led her to have those expectations? When I'm in trouble, you keep coming to my aid, so now I see you as my knight in shining armor. And so now I'm dependent on you to fix problems that I really need to be giving to my Heavenly Father, or I really need to be asking myself about, because you have been exhibiting behavior that led me to think you were somebody that you're really not. Wow. Or you took on a role that you weren't supposed to take on. And because you did that, yeah,
Okay.
because you did that, you mismanaged her expectations. So I think if you're forthcoming about your shortcomings, if you're honest about what you need, then you won't mismanage a woman's expectations, and that will save you some heartache, and it'll also build trust for your relationship.
Okay, so I have a question for you then. All right, hear me out here.
All right.
Now, because relationships go through seasons, sometimes one person needs to rise to the occasion if
Yeah.
someone's down, and vice versa, right? So, in this scenario where, like, let's say you're coming to this aid, you're being this person that you might not necessarily be, but you're coming to the aid at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the expectation that he's coming to the aid, or that he's being a person that he's not? Because there's also such
there's a
thing as
difference.
there's also such thing as setting unrealistic expectations. Whereas, because what's being voiced from the woman to the man isn't there, he's thinking that she's expecting this when she is either expecting more or maybe expecting less.
Yes.
And because of that,
Also true.
and it can be vice versa for both sides. I mean, you know, like, if you're like, hey, I want you to do this. If you want them to do this exact way, that's not like, maybe let's just say societally
Yeah.
normal, meaning, you know, like, let's say if on a birthday, like, let's say normal on the day of is like flowers and a card, right? But she's expecting breakfast in bed, a teddy bear, flowers, a card, this, that, and the other, right? And then it comes and you do what's normal, which is fine. But she's upset because she wanted more, or vice versa. You're upset because you wanted her to do more on your birthday. Like, that expectation there, you were setting yourself up to be disappointed because you weren't even letting them know what you were expecting.
Right.
So I say, although mismanaging the expectations, if your expectations have been risen because of what someone's doing, you got to let them know that that's what you're still expecting.
Right.
Because they might have just been changing who they were because that other person needed it, because they needed them to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's a difference between raising expectations and being courteous or being kind, or even in your example being helpful. When you exceed somebody's expectations, I don't think that's dangerous necessarily. The problem is when I'm going above and beyond, and so the above and beyond becomes normal. And really, this is where boundaries come in, when I start to do somebody else's job. Like, for instance, say we become real tight and you're confiding in me, you're telling me about some problems you have. And essentially, although I'm not saying it out loud, essentially what I'm saying is, cast all your cares on me, bro, because I care for you. Now
Right.
I'm doing God's job.
Right.
And so now you're expecting me to do something for you that I can't do for you. Maybe you're expecting me to do something for you that your parents are supposed to do. Maybe you're expecting me to do something that you're supposed to do. When I'm overstepping my role, then I'm mismanaging expectations.
I got you. So don't overcommit yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, which
Like,
sounds very hypocritical
yes.
for me to say.
No, you're
But
okay.
yes.
No, you're okay. But you're more so saying, like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Gotcha.
Don't overcommit yourself trying to do the most, because then the most would be normal. And
Yes, the
probably
most will
can't
be
do it.
expected, right?
Yeah, you can't
Right.
always do the most.
Can't.
Yeah.
I got you.
Was that your relationship advice?
I was his. I was just asking a question.
What's
Yeah, he
yours?
was asking a question about it.
I would say that mine is, I mean, what I've been talking about all night is the choice thing, man. Is that a relationship, no matter how far, if it's 50 years in, 5 years in, a couple of days in, it's a choice, you know? You got to choose to love that person. Even if you love them, you have to choose to make the actions in loving them. You know, you have to choose to want to care about them, you know? That's a big thing. And like I was saying, sometimes it becomes automatic. But, you know, every relationship goes through that thick and thin time. And it's like, when it gets hard, you got to be like, all right, you know, like, I know that they're waking up fighting for me, so I'm going to wake up and fight for them. Not like, you know, man, I'm not really feeling it today. You know, then you got your girl texting you, oh, what we doing? You're just like, oh, I'm chilling in the house today. You know, then that already starts that disconnect. You know, you gotta make that decision, like, oh, you know, I'm down bad today, but I'm gonna text her so she can make me not down bad,
Gotcha.
or she'll at least be with me and I can try to feel better. You know, or whatever your relationship has like made your, you know, that space to standard. You know, so yeah, the decision is big. You know.
Is it okay if I go, Zeke?
If you're ready to go, yeah, go ahead.
Do you have yours lined up?
I mean, I
Ready
got
to go.
something. But
Yeah, go ahead.
You said you wouldn't go
Joe
last.
don't want to go last.
I'll go last for this one.
all right.
He's the closer.
I guess I'll just say mine. I guess it's come from some personal experience. I think everything I've said has come. I mean, obviously, you would not go twisting up if it doesn't come from inside you. But
Right.
it's a combination of convenient does not equal good / a fit, and always upholding your standards. And what I mean by that is, there's this girl that I don't know. She works in the cubicle next to you at work. She lives down the street. You find her gorgeous, physically attractive, all those things, super convenient. Like, this is gonna work. This is great. But then you forget. Oh, but I have a prerequisite that I want a family, and I want somebody who's like this and that's like this. And then those standards were okay when you didn't have anybody you were like physically interested in or something that was convenient.
Yeah.
But as soon as you find something convenient, you toss all those out of the window just so you can try and make something work. And that just is not a good combination. So I would just say, I mean, being willing to go outside of maybe even your city, out of your state, whatever. There's so much world to see. The girl down the street or the girl at work or whatever is not there's 8 billion people in the world. Half of those are women. It's a lot of choice. I mean, like a lot of fish in the sea, as they say, whatever. So venture outside of what's normal to you and what's regular to you, and really explore your options, and that would be my main piece. Yeah.
Man, that's good. Ooh.
What you got for us, bro?
It's crazy because me and Josh talked about this in one episode. Like, we kind of are the counselors a lot of times with our friends and stuff like that. And I guess I give out a lot of good nuggets because people come back. That's how I know I'm good.
You are good.
But I think one of the best pieces of relationship advice that I can think of off the top of my head that I've been told is like, I don't know. I honestly don't know because each person when they give advice is coming from like a current place that they are in their life right now, and what they've experienced. I think that each person gives valuable advice and valuable pieces of wisdom to offer to you, but I think it's also like where you're at in that current moment. And so currently in the moment of my life that I think applies the most is from that Levels of Intimacy sermon that I referenced earlier by Dr. Matthew Stevenson. The house that he uses as an example has a sidewalk, it has a porch, it has a door, a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and then the bedroom, right? So like there's all these different levels. And he was like, you have to be able to see someone first as from the sidewalk and get to know them there, and then slowly but surely invite them in. You don't need to rush the process. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, there should be no rush to try and meet someone's standard. There should be no rush to try and meet, like, I know a lot of our listeners are young, and some of them are young Christians, and there's this horrible standard, I believe, of like rushing to get married so young. Like, if you feel like that's the good call for you right now, then go for it. But don't be in a point where you're rushing to do it or you're trying to meet a standard. Like, don't do that, because in the end, if it really turns out that is not the person for you, then you're going to end up damaging yourself and the other people who you are with. Like, a lot of us kind of don't really want to see people through seasons. Like, we see people when they're at their highest, and we're like, yo, they are so dope. But what we don't see is like, okay, how do they act when the whole world is crashing down? Like, how do they act when they get declined something, Do they react in anger? Do they react in, like, what is their reaction to a lot of stuff that they're going through? And I think it takes time to really get to understand that. Or it can be clear as day that this individual is for you, because I know I've met some couples who dated for a short amount of time and are like, and they went in prayer, and then boom, they're married, and now they're impacting thousands of lives all the time just because of their consistency and faithfulness to each other. So I think don't rush it. Take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be different for everyone else. No one relationship is this gold. This is where you have to be.
Right.
Each relationship is different. There are some relationships where they like to drive together, and so they ride together everywhere. There are some relationships where they're like, I cannot stand your driving. I love you, hate your driving. So we're going to drive separately. And that's okay for their relationship. There are some people who are, like, each relationship is different, and you have to find your own pace. There's a general place that you should be, but there's also different places where you should, like, some people are artists in relationships. So they like to paint. So their vows will probably be paint. You know, and this paint piece represents their love for someone.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
But
Gotcha.
my vows would be actual words because that's just how I would express myself. Zeke's may be from videography. Yours may be from writing. Josh's may be in a poem. Like, it's all different ways, but it's still our standard of how we express it, and it's from our own pace.
Right.
Like, each individual person is going to have their own standard, their own pace of what they want that relationship to look like. Mm-hmm. And to you who are listening, I want you to be okay with that. Like, I know we often say this a lot of times on this show is like, we want you to be okay with how you process things. We want you to be okay with how life impacts you, because a lot of times we get so caught up in trying to beat this standard or trying to be for someone else that we don't think, okay, I need to process this and understand what's exactly going on, because what just happened is going to change my life forever. You know, and so that's my one piece of advice.
That's wisdom, man.
Is be okay with the pace. And I want to thank y'all for coming on the show today.
Yes, sir.
You know, this was
Thanks for having us. For sure,
yeah,
for
this
sure.
was really good. This was really good. I was thinking because the last episode, the females were like, we would love to hear what the guys thought. So I'm interested to see how they react. Yeah. You know, we might need to have y'all back because we're going to bring them back to do an episode with.
I think that maybe we should do a hybrid or something.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
That's what we need.
That's what we want to do, just to see, you know, where are the connections.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be kind of crazy though, because like, I feel like there was kind of two ways to answer a lot of these questions. As far as like, you could have
more than two.
Yeah, you could have answered it more as like a relationship way, or like directly what you were looking in, like a individual person. Like I didn't even speak on like what I was looking for in a person. So like, I wonder if they did, and like we're gonna end up speaking on two different things or something.
Yeah,
it'd be crazy.
Yeah, but listen, I want to say again, thank you all for joining us. It's always welcome to the conversation table.
Yes, sir.
To our conversationalists, listen, I want to thank you for joining the conversation again. Yes. It has been a fun season. I hope that you all are enjoying what's going on. Josh, anything you want to say? Oh, pause. I want you to stop where you are.
Oh, my gosh.
And sow a seed right now. So, right there. Go to Cash App.
Every week. I
didn't do it the last episode.
You didn't because you didn't have
and we didn't make any money.
That's, you know, that you're putting our business out there, but
we did.
All good.
So God, I need you to stop what you're doing and go ahead and hit our Cash Apps real quickly. We appreciate you. They are on the screen right now. Boom, right there. You see them? Right there.
You see it. I know you see it.
I know you see it.
Do I get part of the profits?
No, you don't get no profits.
Well, you get a, you get a.
We got your donuts and stuff and water.
Heard you. Okay.
But Josh, as we always say,
I want to teach them. Our closing.
All right.
Very, very simple. We have a motto here in the conversation.
And it's on here.
It's also in your outline. It's not a script. It's an outline. A conversation begins and ends with an open ear. We're gonna do it.
Okay. All right.
Y'all ready?
All right. Yeah. We good. All right. Raw. Honest.
No.
Oh wait,
no.
This is why y'all just
it says right there.
Y'all fumbled.
It says closing
you didn't listen.
statement.
No, you didn't listen.
You scrolled all the way to the top.
Yeah, because you didn't say.
All right, can we get a countdown?
I know he even said he said the slogan earlier.
You did.
And then he said the ending.
We're gonna close it. We're ending the episode.
No, I blame you.
You know what?
Josh was right.
Thank you.
He's never right.
You could say a conversation begins and then you say ends.
Man.
And we got the rest.
You. Always.
You ready? All right, start us off, bro.
Conversation begins
and ends
with an open ear.
All right. Oh, that was horrible.
Wait, were we all supposed to say the last part?
No, me and Josh were supposed to say it, but he was too far. Okay, let's try it again. Okay.
We're gonna do it again?
Yeah.
All right. A conversation begins
and ends
with an Oh.
Josh!
You're
Hey, the
supposed to
first
say it
one
like
was great.
immediately after. What you
Right.
counting down for?
No, 1, 2, 3, so we can say it together.
Okay.
But there's so
Alright.
much pause. It's not even seem natural.
Exactly.
We just like
You see how difficult this man
They
is.
all clicked off already, for real.
Yeah.
it really did. It's gone. We should say the whole thing together.
Okay, yeah, we'll do
Let's
that.
go.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
A conversation begins and ends with an open ear.
All right, peace. Good shit.